professional judgment. Professional judgment is defined as the application of the accumulated knowledge and experience gained through a relevant accounting or auditing training by making use of the ethical standards, resulting in making informed decisions about the course of action that are appropriate in specific circumstances, such as an audit mission and or the accounting of economic transactions by observing accounting principles.
Now, I will explain why professional judgment arises. Professional judgment is essential to the proper conduct of an audit. This is because the interpretation of relevant ethical requirements by the ISA and the decision required throughout an audit cannot be made without the application of relevant knowledge and experience to the facts and circumstances. Professional judgment is necessary when taking decisions. One of the decisions is materiality and audit risk. Next is the nature, timing, and extent of audit procedure used to meet the requirement by ISA and gather audit evidence. Third is evaluating whether sufficient audit evidence has been obtained to achieve the objective of the auditors. And the last one is the drawing conclusion made based on the audit evidence that has been obtained.
There are possible problems that may be arises from the professional judgmental issue. There are three, which are the first one is a judgment bias. So when collecting an information, an auditor may unwittingly put more weight or information that supports on initial preference or expectation. So as a result, the auditor may rely unconsciously on evidence that is biased toward their own expected alternative rather than evaluating facts that exist. The second one is the rush to solve. A person may want immediately solve the problem by making a quick judgment. So as a result, he or she may underinvest in the important early steps in the judgment process. So the third one is the time pressure. The time pressure may cause an auditor to rush the judgment to accept the first alternative without evaluating the other alternative.
A real international case is about Adelphia, United States 2005. In this case, there is no professional judgment because the auditor, Deloitte, was failed to carry out audit procedure that would provide reasonable assurance to detecting the improper exclusion of debt from the balance sheet, the improper netting of related party transactions, and an overstatement of stockholders' equity. And for a real domestic case in Malaysia is about fraud in the Malaysian immigration system for foreign labor quota approval in 2015. In this case, there is a professional judgment because based on the auditor knowledge and experience, the auditor able to find out that the quota granted to 123 companies to bring in the foreign labor was a fake.
Possible solution that need to be taken to handle the issue is by gathering the facts and informations and identify the relevant literature. With the problem defined, the auditor seeks to understand the relevant facts and available information concerning the issue. This might include obtaining facts and information about key inputs and assumptions to a transaction, event, or situation through discussion with client personnel who are knowledgeable of the situation. When gathering facts and information, the auditor should be alert for other information that either confirms or contradicts facts and information, in addition to evaluating the sources of that information.
Introduce about professional skepticism. Professional skepticism is identified by the International Standard of Auditing as the attitude of audit team members. Attitude generally refers to someone's point of view, frame of mind, and perspective. Therefore, professional skepticism can be explained as the frame of mind of the audit team members when performing an audit. There are two primary components, which are questioning mind and critical assessment of audit evidence. When auditors embrace their responsibility to fulfill these two components, they significantly reduce the likelihood for audit failure throughout the audit. Next, we move to the element of professional skepticism. There are 6 elements, which are questioning mind, suspension of judgment, searching for knowledge, interpersonal understanding, autonomy, and self-esteem.
A professional skepticism is arise when there is a circumstances may exist that cause the financial statements to be materially misstated. Essentially, ISA 200 requires the use of professional skepticism as a means of enhancing the auditor's ability to identify risk of material misstatement and to respond to the risk identified. Professional skepticism is closely related to the fundamental ethical considerations of auditor objectivity and independence. Professional skepticism is also linked to the application of the professional judgment by the auditor. An audit performed without an attitude of professional skepticism is not likely to be a high-quality audit. The application of professional skepticism should help to ensure that the auditor does not neglect unusual circumstances, oversimplify the result from audit procedures, or adopt inappropriate assumptions when determining the audit response required to address identified risk.
The possible problem that arises from this issue is biases. The concept of professional skepticism has been a foundational element of auditing standard for years, and it continues to be difficult to implement in practice. Auditors are human and thus are subject to natural biases to trust individuals they know and with whom they interact on a regular basis. In an audit environment, auditors sometimes convince themselves that they only accept clients they can trust and who have high integrity. Thus, it is often difficult for auditors to embrace the possibility that even their clients may lack competence or may try to deceive them throughout the entire audit process.
There are international and domestic cases regarding the professional skepticism issue. So for the international cases, from the Peregrine fraud, in this case, the CEO and the chairman of board, Russell Wessendorf, duped the auditors and public for years. Wessendorf was able to carry out a fraud using an unsophisticated scheme involving falsified bank statements and audit evidence. The frauds only unraveled when an electronic service was used by the auditor. The domestic cases regarding this issue is the Transmill Group Berhad. The Transmill Group Berhad is an investment holding company which principally involved in the provision of aircraft engineering and maintenance service. So this company hit with the accounting scandal when the company failed to submit the audited financial account for the financial year of 31st December 2006. Due professional care requires the auditor exercise a professional skepticism, which is an attitude that includes the questioning mind and the critical assessment of the audit evidence.
Next, we are going to discuss the possible action need to be taken by the auditor to handle the issue of professional skepticism. An auditor should be alert to the audit evidence that contradicts other audit evidence obtained. The information that brings into question the reliability of documents and responses to inquiries to be used as audit evidence. Also, the condition that may indicate possible fraud and the circumstances that suggest the need for audit procedures in addition to those required by the ISAS.